Hey guys, this is craphunter, and welcome back to World of Tanks! Woo! Now, today we're going to be having another review of the AMX 40. Now, the reasons why I am having another look at this vehicle, one of them is actually practical. One of them is to try and, in a sense, try and solve an argument which has been going on for a god knows how long. And finally, it's to sort of have a bit of satisfaction to it. A kind of, if you will, yeah, I did it right this time. Because when I did this the first time, I mean, no doubt, ironically enough, my AMX review is my second most popular video on YouTube, which is surprising considering, considering that at that time I was still quite a young and enterprising YouTuber. But yeah, so unfortunately, I mean, if you guys have been linked from the previous video, I had put another link up saying, hey, check out this other second look, but in the sense that wasn't really a review. It was more of a let's look at this tank compared to the M3 Lee, and naturally the two tanks have different tactics. So really, it was kind of silly to put this tank inside, or to have this tank go up against the M3 Lee, because the M3 Lee, despite everyone saying it's shit, actually has some combat status, meritable combat statuses. Alright. Another reason why, one of the practical reasons why, is because since my review of the AMX 40 at that time, things have changed within World of Tanks. The accuracy in most guns now is much better than it was previously. Ergo, maybe this tank may perform better. If this tank may perform better than it did when I reviewed it. That's one of the things I find rather hilarious, is that people in the comment sections have thrown a lot of hate towards me, and yet they don't seem to check the date of when this was made. This was before they made guns more accurate. This is before they did things with tanks that made it different. The tank performs differently, you know. And finally, I just want to get this done right now, because when I first did it, and at the time I thought I did it justice. I thought, yeah, fuck you French, I did it well, sort of thing. And I hated this tank. I don't like this tank, to be honest with you. I don't like the French tanks. Lower tech tree, you know. I will say, I'm eyeing up the AMX 12T. I like the Lehman Russ. I like tanks here, 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 here. I like the higher tech ones. Maybe not that, because I hear that's quite bad, but I will have to check that out. You know, I like that side of French tank. It's not like I don't. It's admittedly a recent attraction to it, I will not deny, but still, I actually like those tanks now. And I'm not saying it just to make the people happy. I'm honestly saying that that tank is okay. I don't mind it. It's quite interesting. Blah, blah, whoop-de shit. But these tanks, the AMX 38, the D2, I don't even know what that is, but something tells me I'm going to have to go through it. All of these tanks at lower tier, I fucking hate. They're terrible. The AMX 40 is a laughable tank. Seriously. But it's my opinion on this matter. Now, because I say so, doesn't mean it's fact. And there are very good, meritable things about this tank, but it's still a hunk of junk, in my opinion. You know? It's like, I don't know, the famous who is better, Batman or Superman? You will have people who will absolutely love Superman, and you will have people who will absolutely love Batman. Neither side will ever get along. It's like me with the Lee. I prefer the Lee to this. If I had an option of this or the M3 Lee, I'll have the Lee. I have actually done well in the Lee. And I'm not saying I haven't done well in this, but I loathed grinding through it. So on this review, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be having a serious enough review. And if in combat it performs better than I think it does, because previously, you know, combat-wise, it was shit. Admittedly, at the time, I wasn't that much of a good player to begin with, but at least when I did try, I tried. We'll see how things go. I just thought it would be kind of a good way to introduce it. And if you are new to the channel and you have no idea what I'm talking about, pretend that this is the proper review. The first review, despite it being the second most popular video I've done, ignore that. That was when I was young, dumb, and stupid. Let's get on to this proper review. So now that we got that out of the way, start with the hit points. 300 hit points. Now, everyone knows the French tanks have the worst hit points. If you have a look at the tech tree, we go comparing it to... Oh, don't forget the Chinese. The Chinese have the M5A1 Stuart. Now, unfortunately, they don't provide the proper details of that when you fix, but that one actually goes to 360 if I am not mistaken. We all know the American M3 Lee has 310 hit points because it suffers from what I call Lee syndrome, i.e. only has one turret. The Combinator has 300 and goes up to 350 maybe? 300 and 340, 350, around that perimeter. So yeah, no, I think that is 340. This tank, I believe, goes up to 370. Yeah, this tank goes up to 370, so it is 340 for that one. Cool. Yeah, so 370 for this tank. Beauty that she is. And that's not me just being British. That is a very useful tank. There are loads of people saying about it. Anyway, this one goes up to 340. Mid the Valentine. And the Russians, the T-28, goes up to 350, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, that one goes to 350 with the shed with the gun, as I say. The T-50, I don't think is a very fair comparison because this thing is mainly in higher tier games, so we will ignore that. The A-20 goes into higher tier games, but on occasion has been seen in lower things, so that one's 340. The T-80 suffers from Lee syndrome. What does it have? It has 350. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, you know, for those guys. I mean, for you, unfortunately, you're 300. So, you're no better than a tier... You're just about better than a tier 4 tank destroyer. Oh, dear. Not so good. And also, you're not light. 21.86 tons. Yeah, whoever says that you're a light tank has got it severely wrong. You're not. You're not a light tank whatsoever. Yeah, your top engine as well is 190 horsepower. That's the top. That is the top engine. I'm afraid. Which the speed limit, despite it saying you can go that fast, actually isn't true. What it does is it basically what they've done, and I don't know why, but basically what they've done is allowed the tank to go up to 50 kilometers per hour when going downhill. So say for example you're on El Haluf and you're going downhill, you could possibly reach 50 kilometers per hour, but you will not reach it on flat ground, especially when you're going over slight inclines. The fastest you'll get to is either 20 kilometers, nearly 20 to 15 to 20 kilometers. If I'm not mistaken. And if you go over a slight incline, as an old joke of mine, we all kind of, a mate of mine and I, we do a sort of joke where we say, "Oh no, a slight incline, ah!" Because it literally, any kind of obstruction in your way will slow this tank right down. Its traverse speed is not bad at 30 degrees. It's not good, and bearing in mind you've got a very slow engine, so it will be slow. But that said, it's not bad at all. Now, let's go on to the most popular aspect, and the main reason why loads of people keep having a go at me about it, the armor. Now, the armor for this thing is interesting, and it's also... Some people say it's troll, other people say it's not. Either way, this thing has good armor. Whether I like this tank or not, this thing has good armor. 70 at the front, 65 to the sides, and 40 to the rear. And that's actually even better for once on the turret. 80 to the front, 60 to the sides, and 60 to the rear. Now, the weird thing, one of the more magical things about this tank is that it is very bounceable. Reasons why? It's not sloped. Well, it is sloped, but it's more rounded than sloped. So many shots will ping off the front of you, the side, and on occasion to the rear. You know, the turret is immensely bounceable. To be honest with you, I don't know where the front ends and the side begins. You know, this is a very, very bounceable tank, and it most certainly has earned my respect from that. Even if it's so fucking annoying that this thing cannot be shot at properly unless you've got a gun, unless you're a tier 5 or you're a tier unless you're a tank destroyer or something which has a damn good penetration. I think the the Shed Tank's gun, the T-28 ZIS-5 with its 57mm, that's can pen. Obviously tank destroyers will be able to pen this thing, but more often than not they'll pen it from the side. That'll be something which can easily... That is pretty much the case. I suppose if there is any weak points of this tank is the sides, really. I mean, that's the best thing I would advise. If you're shooting at this thing, go for this region down here. The track shields are kind of your goal, if you will. Because if you go for here, there is a high chance that the thing will hit that and ping off the side. Don't go for turret shots unless the tank is like that. Because otherwise you will once again bounce off. And if you have a shot from here and you see the tank this side, go for the side here. Don't go for a turret shot, because you can see if you can see the bullseye is actually slanted so well, so you've got to be extremely careful when it comes to shooting this thing. If you think you're lucky enough, try going for that. The Commander's Cupola, that is another weakness you could go for. If you're shooting the front, that'll be a good weakness to go for. Driver's cab, I haven't actually shot that section of that part of the vehicle. I never seem to be in a position where I can shoot the front of this thing, and if I am, I often try and flank. But if I was to go for anything, obviously Lower Glacius, weak point here and weak point here. But apart from that, everything else, this tank is very bounceable. So yes, that is this vehicle's strongest point. And certainly when you're a higher tier, if you're in a tier 3 match and you're like one of the high tiers, you will troll people. You can easily troll people. The only problem is you have to get to them to troll them. Turret traverse speed isn't so good at being at 26, but that said, you are quite slow and your armor is very good, so you don't really have to worry about turning it quickly. For view range, you're not actually that bad, being at 340. If we have a little comparison to the B1, because that's your only other tank, that one has 330, so you're better than that. The German tanks, the Panzer 38 NA is a scout tank, so I don't know whether that... I don't think I will count this one simply because it has a very good view range. Goes the same for the M5A1. This one is a scout tank, and that has 350, so it's 10 better than you. But that one is also a scout tank, so I'm not really sure I will be counting it. What I will be counting is the Panzer III, which has 330 view range, so you're better than that by 10. And the VK 2001, or 2001 I might just say. That one I think has the same turret as the... yeah, no, just that one. So 330 view range. So once again, it's... you're better than them. The Convenator, what does this one have? This one has 340 view range, so it's the same as you. The Matilda, what view range does that one have? That one has the same, 340. Very impressive. What about the Valentine? The Valentine has 340, so you're on par with a lot of the British tanks over here. The American M3 Lee has 320, so you're actually better than the 320 of the American tanks. That's a scout tank, which has the same turret, so it's the same 350 view range. The T-28, if we go down to here, T-28 Koenigs actually has the same view range, 340, which makes you pretty much on par with a fair amount of things. T-50, can't really count that because that goes into higher tier games. This I can somewhat count. And what's its view range? 330. So you beat a fair amount of tanks. What about the T-80? How does that go? That one is 330. So you are pretty much at the top leagues of view range. You know, 340 is something to be quite proud of, especially in this vehicle, because it's very good view range for a tier 4 vehicle. I mean, you're on par with you're pretty high on the view range count. I mean, the only tanks that do beat you are the scouts, which will travel very fast and have very light armor. I think the highest one is the Panzer 30. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I think the highest one is the Panzer 38 NA with 370 view range. Not so good. But apart from that, it's pretty good. You've got a very good view range. Now, you don't exactly have that for radio. Your highest radio signal, a tier 5 radio, only goes up to 360, and that's the same as the ELC. So, yeah. When compared, this is the bad part, when compared to the equivalent heavy tank, the B1 for radios, the B1 actually gets a tier 9 radio at the same, basically it's the French equivalent of a FUG 12. Ah, shit. The Chinese with their Scout has a tier 9 radio. Deutschland has a tier 8 radio, but it's still better than you at 550. The Panzer III, we all know, has the FUG 12. This base is my favourite radio of all time because it has that many compatible vehicles and it is the tier 9 radio, so that's pretty bad. The VK 3001D has the same radio. Ah, shit. The British have the Mark 19, number 19 Mark 3, which is the tier 8 550, and it has it for the Matilda as well. Well, that's actually for the Mark 2. So the Mark 2 has 450, but still, he's better than you. The Valentine has the Mark 19 Mark 2, 450. Ah, shit. What about the Americans? What do the Americans have? Oh, shit, they've got a tier 9 radio as well. Not as good as the British or... No, not as good as the Germans or the French on that regard. Ah, dear. And, of course, the same goes for the M5 Stuart. The Russians, what do the Russians get? Well, the Russians get... The T-28 has the same radio as you, tier 5 radio, which is somewhat relieving. Can't count that tank. That A-20, though, gets a tier 9 radio, the same as the Americans. Oh, dear. What about the T-80? Well, the T-80 gets a tier 8 radio, which has 525 on that. So... yeah, disadvantage-wise, the radio is quite crap. So your view range may be good, but make sure to stick close to your comrades, or at least try and catch up with them when it comes to it. Because yeah, it's not bad. It's not like terrible, but at the same time, it is a disadvantage you have to be careful of. And now we come on to what I, in a sense, consider to be quite a big weakness, and it was the main thing that made me hate this tank so much. The gun. Here it is. The 75 SA-32. 75mm gun, fires 9.68 rounds a minute, 74 pen on average, 91 for premium, and 38, that's right, 38 for HE. The damage is good, being at 110, that's quite good, but its accuracy and its aiming time are horrible. Absolutely horrible. And what's worse is you get this damn thing on the bloody G1B. I hope to God I don't have that on the B1. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Anyway, yeah, this is what made me hate this gun so much. So much. Now, you could say, oh, but Russian guns are like that as well. Yes, Russian guns are like that, but at least they have good pen. This thing doesn't. You know, the M3 Lee, God forbid. If we go back out, hang on, let's just get this and go to the tech tree. Let's have a look-see. Tech tree. And I'm not trying to have a go here, but I'm just trying to sort of alert you to certain things. The M3 Lee's gun is notably bad. Look at this, right? 92 on average pen. 91 is the highest pen this thing can have. And I'm not trying to prove a point here. I'm not trying to justify the fact that I hate this thing, but this is a terrible gun. This is such a crap gun. It's horrible when you have to drive that with this, because you get it in the freaking you get this in the ELC. The miracle is this thing fires way faster in the ELC, so at least you can spam the enemy with rounds. But on this thing, admittedly, armor isn't that good in tier 4, so in a sense you could say it's tolerable. But in tier 5 matches, you will find yourself at a disadvantage almost instantly. And God forbid if you're over in a tier 6 match. This thing is just... this is the bad part. I would say the lack of speed and a bad gun is pretty much the two major disadvantages this thing has. That is, you can't deny. This thing has just a terrible gun. Terrible. Just terrible. Really nasty. Anyhow, equipment and crew crew research. For equipment, naturally, I would tell you guys to get an improved ventilation, because if this thing can work even slightly faster, that's good. Second, I would highly recommend you get a medium caliber gun rammer, because at any point to try and reduce the time it takes to reload is a good idea. And the third is up to you. But an enhanced gun laying drive would be the #1 recommendation. You don't need to have copted optics. You don't need to have a binocular telescope, because you won't be you will have to be moving and all that. I've never had ammo rack with this tank. Not really. Never had a problem with ammo racking in this tank. I mean, as you are a light tank, camouflage may be unnecessary, but that really only applies to tank destroyers and artillery. Light spore liner. If you are suffering from artillery problems, this isn't actually a bad idea, to be honest with you, because this thing is so slow. I mean, only when you're going round hills. If you have problems with artillery, this isn't a bad idea. But the #1 recommendation is this. So, enhancing gun laying drive and light spore liner are my #1 recommendations for the third slot. But once again, it is up to you. On to crew skills, and unfortunately, this tank has only got 3 crew members, which means certain roles will have been taken over by 1 crew member. The commander is also the radio operator, unfortunately. So what I would highly recommend? Well, repairs, because if this thing stops for any moment, you want to get this thing moving as fast as possible. So train the repairs up until you get to 100, then drop the skill and give him Sixth Sense. Then afterwards, give him Mentor. And then once he's got to 100% Mentor, go to Repairs, drop that for something like Eagle Eye, and then go, either go back to Repairs or go to Recon if you really want to. And just sort of keep on with that one. You can also, the radio operator, I would say, has maybe one useful thing, which is situational awareness. That extends the view range, but you've got the same kind of feature in Recon, so really it's tit for tat, really. For your gunner, I would highly recommend you have Snapshot, because it improves accuracy of the turret during its rotation, and anything to lower the time it takes to actually, aim as well. As long as to reduce any kind of time when it comes to aiming is something. So having extra accuracy is most certainly a good idea. And once that trains up to 100%, give him Repairs, and once he trains up in Repairs, drop that skill and give him Deadeye, because it basically increases the opportunity you have for doing damage. It basically increases the chances of doing damage to the enemy tank's modules. Then go back to Repair, then drop it for Designated Target, because keeping the opponent focused on you is very important. Go back to Repairs, and then get Safe Stowage. This basically reduces the chance of having an ammo racking issue without having to purchase the equipment. And finally, the driver. You will want to have clutch braking, because any opportunity to increase the rotation of speed for any vehicle is always a welcome sight. This basically will allow your vehicle to turn faster than the stats incline. Once you've got 100% on that, either go smooth. Probably off-road driving would be a good idea, because then if you are in a case of driving off the road, at least you will be able to drive slightly faster, making this thing slightly more useful in the battlefield. Or adding extra maneuverability is a good thing. So that is something to be keen on. Once you've trained up in that, give him Repairs, and then have something like preventative maintenance, because once again, any kind of problems, any kind of chances to reduce any kind of chance without having to spend money on it is a good idea. Always think about that, and then go to Smooth Ride or something along those lines. So, with that said, let's actually get into the fray and see whether this tank is good, or if it's still kind of as bad as I remember it. See you on the battlefield, guys. And we're back, and we are in not so good tiering, but we are in an AMX 40, so I'm sure something good will happen. Anyway, so as you can see, the turning traversity isn't actually that bad. I am actually wiggling myself like a snail. Well, like a snake, whatever. Either way, I wish I was you. Anyway, so preliminary bombardment of a random sort is going on. Oh look, we've got an M3 Lee in our team. So anyway, this thing, you know, like I said, this thing goes up to 20 kilometers when you're going straight, no different to a Churchill. The advantage is you can actually go faster when going downhill. As you can see here, I am going 24 kilometers per hour, which is quite nice. But we are in a tier 5 matchup, so we are going to be in sort of somewhat harder circumstances. And I will actually put on my tactical cap and try and save this thing. God forbid how the French thought this would work, but whatever. That was then, this is now. Alright, so the enemy are going through the usual rushing for the southern half. We've actually got quite a nice flanking force to the north. I mean, admittedly, the north, but you know, because it's not all of our top tier tanks. We've got another KV-1, and our Lehman Russes are down there, giving it what for. I will say the Lehman Russ is actually quite a nice tank. I am seriously considering going down. Oh shit, we just lost our Lehman Russ. I am considering going down the Lehman Russ line to go and get it. So there is the Combinator, and this is why I say this thing is terrible when it comes to hills. Ouch! Someone's up there. I've got what? SC-85? Oh, that's the reason why. Shed with a gun and a Lehman Russ. Not a good thing. Actually has more health than the KV-1. Right, Shed with a gun has made a big mistake, thinking that he wasn't a Shed with a gun. There is the Combinator. Extremely careful, actually. Unfortunately, the M3 Lee made the mistake of thinking that he was a more powerful tank. There it is, Shed with a gun. Fire! Fire! Hit it. Ammo rack to Lehman Russ. If that happened, I'd be like, right, I'm shutting up. The Stug chose the wrong gun. I will just point that out right now. L70. Much better than a derp. There's the Combinator. Using the pom-pom. We actually penned him. Oh, shit. Wrong one. Let's go. Let's back off. Thank you for showing how much of a greedy booger you are. We actually are winning, apparently, down south. Oh, shit. Right, time to withdraw. Oh, yep, time to withdraw indeed. They are camping over there. At least their pants want siege round. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so all the TDs are camping up there. Camping TDs. So watch out. We have artillery. Oh, there's a Combinator. Gun depression isn't like... Ooh, good shot. Well, not that you have to. Gun depression isn't like... Oh, fuck. There's a Lehman Russ. We actually can pen the front of the Lehman Russ, but the Lehman Russ, its determination to get kills. Ah, critical hit. Right, okay. So we are in pretty bad territory now. His gun can pen the front of ours. Oh, shit. Yeah, yeah, fuck it. We're withdrawing. Right, withdraw. This game is actually coming quite close. The Lehman Russ player certainly knows what he's doing. Admittedly, I'm not really in a good position right now because, regretfully, well, we're fucked. Yeah, we are kind of fucked right now. I can't drive away because I would just become an easy kill. So if I can do some damage to him, I will. So if I can just, like, track him or something. Load premium. Okay, wrong time. I'm dead. Oh! Ricochet! Holy shit! There you go. Well, you know what? I'll eat my words. That armor is, you know, it worked. It worked. Well, here's my top half of my turret is exposed. So they wouldn't actually have to expose it. Ah, fuck. Ricochet. Ricochet. Nah. You know what? In fairness, I didn't think I'd survive that. But I did ricochet it. I'm already dead! Anyway, so yes, unfortunately, the game has kind of fallen apart. Our team somehow died, despite the enemy team killing a couple of their own members. So unfortunately, this game is not of ours, but we will see you in the... And we're back, and we're in very, very bad tiering. Yeah. 2 levels. Yeah, right, Wargaming says you only have to fight 1 level above you. Lying bastards. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I don't exactly know how I'm going to survive this, but if we do, it'll be awesome. And he's just doomed us to fail. Nah. I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, this is quite unfair tiering. I mean, come on. Being in a Matilda, I think I'd have a chance. In being an M3 Lee, I think I'd have a chance. But the thing is, this is a fucking AMX 40. The gun is so terrible. I mean, if it had a marginally better gun, like instead of having 74 on average damage, on average pen, it was something like, I don't know, 85, maybe even 90, like the American Lee, then I'd be a little bit more optimistic when it comes to facing battles like this one, rather than relying on premium to actually do an average tank's damage. But to be honest with you, it's not that I'm having this actual big beef with this tank. It's just this tank is very, very unmaneuverable. Like, yes, it can turn relatively well, which is a good thing. But the problem is, if you start moving, you almost grind to a halt. So you end up nullifying any kind of advantage that maneuverability may have given you. And these KV-1Ss are really doing a stupid job. Good job trying to kill themselves. Withdraw. At least this thing can reverse very fast. Yes, indeed. This thing can reverse exceptionally well. It's the fastest reverse I've seen yet. But no, this thing, you know what? I'm trying to be good here. I'm trying to find words for it. I've been looking at the stats, and you know, the stats in a tier 4 match will be great. But this isn't tier 4. This is a tier 6 match. We've lost one of our KV-1Ss. Can we pen the front? No. You know, the aiming time, the accuracy isn't as bad. You know, it's not as bad as the stats say it is. You know, it's no different to a Russian gun, so I shouldn't really have any reason to complain. This team is absolutely god-awful, considering that we've just lost both of our top-tier tanks. But, you know, it's very difficult. I'm finding it very difficult to get any kind of encouragement out of this thing, because it doesn't work like a tank that I like. You know, and we're back. And unfortunately, we are even worse tiering, or we've been in the same tiering. Either way, it's pretty bad tiering. Yeah, it's not looking good. So, unfortunately, I've been trying to record this now pretty much all day. Dick. Been trying to record this pretty much, yeah, for the last few hours. I've been trying to find a decent game in this thing, and although there were a couple. Well, no, there wasn't really a couple. The best tiering I got was tier 5. So, literally all day. And this tank can perform well in lower tiers, but not this tier. In fact, I don't know why I'm going left. Sorry, I assumed I was a good tank. No, it is an absolute disaster of a tank. Oh, he's going to look at me, isn't he? He's going to be like, ooh, look at that, a free kill. Nom, nom, nom. We actually did damage. Holy crap. There you go. Premium shell does the job. What about that one? Ooh. Long distance shot, but I'd be impressed if I landed it. Come on, say we can land it. Yes, no. No, not in a million years. Yeah, so no guess shots with this thing, otherwise you're waiting. Enemy team are very eager to sacrifice their tanks. Well, they've already lost one of their top tiers. I don't know why I'm thinking this is a good idea, but whatever. I don't know. I mean, this thing is just. I mean, I don't like it. I'm never going. My opinion of this is never going to change. But you know, I'll save the summary for the end one. But yeah. Right. Okay. Let's see what we got. T-34. I can't really go into the town and try and do anything because my gun won't do shit. But if I can get a side shot at least one of those tanks, good shot, Mr. SU-100Y, and everyone else. Oh, hello. Oh, too late. I almost had a shot. Very well done, team. Bloody well done. Right, trying to move up. I'll try and support the Matilda as best as I can. They've got an SU-100 as well, but I think they're all in the town, actually. We're actually capping as well, which is surprising. Ah, T-34. I can pen the front. I can actually pen this guy. It's taking me forever to get... Never mind. Oh, no, there's an M4. I can pen the front of this thing. Will I? Don't know. Will I get there when he dies? Probably. Yeah, I think he's AFK. Oh, come on, you low piece of crap. Oh, hello. Is he still low? Okay. Let's try and support this guy as best as possible. He's gone. Let's just try and get to that M4 Sherman. And do something. There he is. Right. 2.5 second aiming time. Pens. Does damage. Can he kill? Can we get a kill? Yes! A fucking kill! That's the rarest thing I've seen thus far. Right. We have him. No. Aiming, 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 aiming. Shoots! Wherever that went, that went. The game is actually going well for once. Finally, we're actually in a game which works really well. So yeah, this thing, you know, don't know where the Hellcat is. He's probably either out on the back. We've got the SU-100Y coming up, who's a much more... Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know which one's a better target, myself or that one. KV-2 as well. I'm actually quite overjoyed at that. Didn't think I could do it. Slow bastard, though. We've lost every heavy vehicle thus far. There is their Hellcat. Type 58. We've knocked out their KV-1S, which is fantastic. All that's left now is a KV-2, a Hellcat, Type 58, and an M41. Now, for any of you guys out there saying, "Oh, you don't know you're angling," what angling can I do when you've got a gun which has probably more penetration than... Probably, look, he's an even big... Which shell caliber is probably bigger than the entire... The armor. No. No. Right, let's have a little look-see. Now, I'm not going to do the stupid herkadur, go around the corner, but can I ninja the kill? I damaged. I actually damaged. Doesn't ninja the kill though. Can I ninja this kill? Nope, I can't ninja the kill. Oh, finally! Oh, fucking finally! An actual win in this thing. Wow. Well, at least I ended on a high note. Finally. Yay, I lived! I should get a medal. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oy vey. Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey. Right, there you go then. So, summary time. Now, look. There are lots of people out there who have told me, apparently, well, who've told me in the comments that they've done, apparently, really well in this thing. And I don't deny. So, yeah, summary time. This thing's a pile of garbage. It is a pile of garbage. Now, you know, I went into this review thinking I would have a chance of redemption, that, you know, hey, this thing might not be so bad at all. No, it isn't. It's still just as bad as I remember it before. I mean, the advantage of this, the only different thing is that I've survived a lot longer, which is a good thing, and that I've been able to do damage. These two things I couldn't achieve last time. Even if I did, I was very fortunate then. But still, this thing is a pile of garbage. It is absolutely terrible. And here are the reasons why. It's a very specialized tank. Actually, no, that's the reason. It's a specialized tank. And when I say specialized, I basically mean it can only do well in its tier. Now, it can still do damage at a tier 5 and a tier 6 game, which is a small miracle, but its operational capabilities are drastically reduced as soon as it hits tier 5. You know, this thing, you know, at tier 4, the Panzerkampf 3 has a very, very low chance of being effective, but at least it you can do something with it. You know, okay, I can't use the 67mm worth of penetration, but at least I can use, if I have to, I can use premium, and I can go around the flanks, and I'm fast, I'm maneuverable, yada yada yada. This thing, although very specialized in scouting, still can do something. Going on to the Marder 38T, it's got no armor whatsoever, but I can still have a good game in a tier 6 match. This tank, I can't. It's just too specialized. And, you know, the armor, yes, is fantastic, but at a tier 5 match, you saw what the Lehman Russ did. It blew me away faster than I could snap my fingers. You know? And that wasn't down to a lack of skill, a lack of thought, a lack of tactical thing. It is a simple matter of he had a bigger gun, I didn't have the support, I wasn't in a good position, and I tried. I damaged him, I tried to get him, the premium shell pinged off the side, so, yeah. And in the other match, the tier 6 match, we actually did relatively well, but that was only because I was ignored. If I hadn't have been, I probably would have died. So, yes, this tank is very specialized. Its armor is great. You've got good view range. That's pretty good. Your signal range, not as good as, you know, it's not so fine, but not too bad. Your traverse speed is alright, and when you're going downhill, it's fun. But apart from that, no. When you're going on flat ground and you decide to turn, you have to be careful where you are, because otherwise your tank will come to a grinding halt, and you'll have to figure out, you know, you have to plan where you're going next to avoid turns in the future. The gun, whenever it decides to work, is still barely capable of doing damage in a tier 6 match, whereas in other tanks, you can do something. 130 pen on a 50mm. Yes, that won't do shit tons, but at least I know I'll do damage. You know? This tank just doesn't work in higher tier matches. It's very specialized. And, yeah, it's that, you know. And before we go on, I'm just going to remind you that it's my own personal opinion. If you are out there and you will have this tank and you're doing well, then clearly you have discovered something amazing, or you're just using heat, because this thing cannot pen for the life of it. It cannot pen. The standard shots are very rarely pen. If you're aiming for the rear or something which is shitely armoured, then fine. But apart from that, this thing is crap. You know? I did this review over a year ago, and I can happily say now that this thing is still the piece of garbage that I remember it for. Except now, I did a few more tactical stuff, and I know what I'm talking about now. Far more now than I did beforehand. So, yeah, I wasn't wrong. Anyway, so, to bring up onto a more lighthearted move, that is the review now. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new to this thing, just ignore what the first video was and just listen to this review. This one is the much better one. It's the updated one, and fair to say, this is probably the final review of this thing I'll ever have. I'm probably never gonna get this thing again, because I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of trying to look at this vehicle in a different light, apart from the one that's being shone in my face like a freaking full beam. You know, it is terrible. That is it. So anyway, that's about it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this kind of content, feel free to let me know by clicking on the like button, commentating down below, and of course subscribing to the channel. I'm happy to announce that we've got over 150 subscribers. That is pretty damn good. We've been able to, thank you very much. That is, you know, we've been able to get, I'm surprised we've been able to get this far. So thank you very much for doing this. And I will, you know, I'll definitely continue on making this stuff, because at least now you're telling me it's good. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time, guys. This is craphunter, signing out.